Stu, we're at the end product of our long journey here on our finish.
Boy, it's really starting to feel like home. How long have you been working on this particular unit?
This unit has only been vacated for, I believe, 2 weeks.
Wow, so that quick, the transformation, and it really speaks for itself. It's starting to feel like home. How soon until the occupant moves in?
Funny you ask. Actually, it'll be this afternoon.
Get out of here. So that explains some of the organized chaos that I'm seeing here. I mean, other tradespeople, everybody trying to finish it up, do their job. Along those lines, do you find it difficult or challenging to work side by side with, you have electricians here, plumbers here, HVAC, all kinds of different trades professionals all trying to get to the same end result?
Not really. We've worked together as a team over this whole project. Once it gets to this point, it is very choreographed, like you said.
The market true professionals, they have the same vision for the end result. Okay, quickly, let's walk through here. Each unit gets a sink. It looks like they get a stove, or at least a cooktop, microwaves going in. What about from the bathroom size? Because again, these are small efficiency units, and it's one room, and then it looks like each of them will have their own private bath?
They do. And actually, for the size of the unit, it is a very large and a very usable bathroom.
Oh, wow, look at this nice corner unit, shower. Was that one of those big heavy ones you talked about? It was cast iron?
It was. Originally, this was almost a 1,000-pound unit.
Wow. I mean, whoever moves in here, this is awesome. It's like a brand new unit, even though it's from 1920s. And, we're looking at everything you're installing. We're talking about codes. How often does an inspector come out here and inspect the work that you guys are doing?
A city inspector is involved in every phase, from the demo to the rough to the finish.
And so he'll be here this afternoon before somebody can move in?
He will.
And they'll obviously approve it. One thing that I always marvel at is how professionals make things look easy. You do this day in and day out, all the years of experience. Do you ever encounter a homeowner situation where they thought it was easy, a lot easier than it looked, and they got themselves into problems?
We do, all the time. And usually by the time we get back and they feel like they need to call us, it's a much bigger project than what they started with.
Sure. Well, there's no substitute for experience, that's for sure. Okay, so we better get out of these guys' way, because if somebody's going to be moving in and sleeping in their new home tonight, we don't want to slow up progress. So let's go look at some other aspects that you're dealing with. Wow, talk about a plumbing extravaganza. This is awesome. Just imagine all the past plumbers, the history that is living down here in this basement.
Yeah, absolutely, Stu. This has been the heart of the building since 1928.
And speaking of 1928, this looks to be the original boiler?
It is. This is the original cast iron boiler that was used for heating.
I would not want to have the job of removing this. I mean, this must weigh literally a ton.
Yeah, and then some.
Okay, what are we looking at behind you?
Behind me, this was the original holding tank for the domestic hot water.
Really? To me, I thought it was like a fuel oil tank. If anybody still burns with fuel oil, that's what they look like in a basement. Maybe not that big, but this is cool. I noticed that they were actually torching it. Todd was cutting it apart. What was that?
This is actually boiler number 2 of the building. This was the second boiler that was put in to heat the entire building.
And it's up to you guys to actually use a cutting torch and, for lack of better, cut it apart, disassemble it, and dispose of it?
It is. That's part of our demo.
Wow. So boiler number 1, number 2, I see a green one in the background there. Is that what they've been using?
That is the one that was just decommissioned this year.
This year, and that was probably, I'd venture to guess, from the 60s?
Yeah, early 60s.
Wow. What are these here? Water heaters?
Yes, these are the domestic hot water heaters.
Okay, and they're all you can see vented. They're the older ones. You're going to be replacing everything with new ones?
We will replace these two with 2 new high-efficiency water heaters, and the venting that we saw upstairs will tie into those 2 new water heaters.
Wow, so just 2 water heaters for the entire structure, 34 units?
2, and it won't miss a beat. Very efficient, very quick recovery.
That's awesome to know. I was thinking each unit might need its own water heater. So energy efficiency is playing into all the upgrades with this structure.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The building itself will be very energy efficient by the time we're done.
And as we look around here, what are some of these old pipes that I'm looking at?
We have everything in this room. We have gas lines, we have drain lines, we have water lines, we have vent lines, and we also have the old steam boiler lines.
And so again, when we talk about the history of the plumbing trade, somebody wants to see it. It's in old basements like this one that we have an opportunity to look at. And for someone like yourself who gets to work on older structures like this and experience the history on a daily basis, it's probably second nature. But to us, it's a real treat to see behind the scenes, especially on a renovation of this magnitude. I appreciate you coming on and showing us around.
My pleasure.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.